it's Scott, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast. We're going to call this one Nerd News of the Week because several things happened that I want to talk about that didn't really fit into reviews or other things. First up, Deadpool and Wolverine. Broke all sorts of records. I'm recording this Sunday afternoon. Looks like it made over $200 million domestically, about $468 million worldwide. That top number one R-rated opening, number one this, sixth of all time that, and this is just the first 3 days. Myself, Chris, and a few other people have predicted this is probably going to be a $2 billion movie. That'll make it the highest grossing R-rated film of all time, and I think that'd be great. It was a great film. I enjoyed it. I'm ready to go see it again already. I saw it Thursday afternoon. I thought it was funny from beginning to end. I did a non-spoiler review. I'm probably going to do a spoiler review, but it's basically just going to talk about some stuff because there's some great breakdowns and things that are already out there, and I don't need to do that. So kudos to everybody involved with not screwing up the Deadpool trilogy. 3 really great movies. Pretty stoked about that. All right. It'll be a while, by the way, my friends who are into home video and wondering when they're going to put the Blu-ray on sale. Disney notoriously waits forever. It could be another month or two. A lot of movies, when they come out in theaters that weekend, Universal, Warner Brothers, a few others will put them up for pre-order then, even if they don't have a date. Disney doesn't usually do that. So I think it'll be a little while, although I keep checking. I'll let you know when the Deadpool 4K Steelbook goes up for pre-order. This is going to be one of the biggest movies of the year. Whether or not it wins any awards, who cares? Maybe special effects, but it was a lot of fun in the theater. Another thing to talk about was as the Comic-Con was going on, there was a whole bunch of announcements. The biggest thing that everybody is talking about is Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Dr. Doom. Think about this, kids. This is kind of what Marvel does. They will say, look, here's this person doing this, and then they'll change it. They'll do something different. There is precedence for something along these lines that Marvel is very well known of taking big, well-known comic storylines and turning them inside out, flipping them over on their head, doing different things with them. Traces of them will still be there, so the hardcore comic fans who have read those comics will pick up on the threads and that kind of thing. But a lot of things won't work out the same way they did in the comics just because that's how things work cinematically or how the writers have decided to change things, whatever. Anyway, several years ago, there was an infamous Iron Man short series where I believe Tony Stark was in a coma for one reason or another. And Dr. Doom convinced everybody that he was kind of going good and became the new Iron Man. And of course, in the end, he was just Dr. Doom and had to get his butt kicked. So I could see Marvel taking a storyline like that and flipping it around a little bit. Think about this. We spend a movie thinking that Tony Stark is back from the dead. This is just hypothetical. One of many theories that are out there. We think Tony Stark is dead. He gave the ultimate sacrifice, and all of a sudden he reappears and he's doing good things and whatever. And then the reveal that he's actually Dr. Doom. That's one thing. But then he pulls off the mask and it's not Robert Downey Jr. It's whatever big name actor they get to play Dr. Doom. That would be pretty cool if it works out that way. You know, I think it could be done right. The fact that this is going to lead to Secret Wars and people not being who they appear, I think a lot of people just aren't thinking here. And a lot of people haven't read the comics and don't know any precedents that this might be based on. I think it was a nice surprise. It certainly is a 1-2 punch for Marvel this weekend. Now everybody's talking about Marvel again. A week ago, it was like, even Deadpool can't save Marvel. Well, if you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine, they call attention to the fact that Marvel's in a bit of a lull. And this is a pretty, calculated or not, 1-2 punch that Marvel hit this weekend and really, knocked it out of the park. Everybody's talking about Marvel again. So here you go. In other nerd news, I got to give kudos to Walmart. Since the demise of Best Buy and the Best Buy exclusive steelbooks, Walmart and Amazon are the two places where we can get exclusives these days. And Amazon's had very few, only a couple. Walmart, in any steelbook I've bought lately, has shipped it with cardboard on either side. I can't say too many companies that have done that. Steelbooks, as hard as they appear, are very prone to dents and scratches. And Amazon has shipped some pretty expensive steelbooks in envelopes where they've gotten dented and I've had to get, or crushed, and I've had to get them replaced. But Walmart, every time I've gotten one, and I haven't gotten a lot this year, but I've gotten a few from Walmart, every single one had cardboard on at least one or not both sides. The side that didn't have cardboard on this particular package had the receipt and some paper on the other side. So it was protected on both sides from incidental dents in that kind of glued together envelope kind of thing. So kudos to Walmart for decent packaging and taking care of collectors in a way that Best Buy absolutely never did. They throw a steelbook in a giant box, let it bat around in there, and then crush the box in UPS or something. And, anyway, long story short, I had a few over the years round and rounds with Best Buy customer service on replacing some things. And I'm not one of those people who often wants to get things replaced. If it's a slight dent that you're not going to see when it's on my shelf, I won't send it back. I'm not too worried about that. But if an end's crushed, the box won't stay together. If the dents are pronounced like on the front or something like that. Got a steelbook video game from GameStop the other day, and it's got a slipcover on it and had a fair amount of denting on the backside. Anyway, not too worried about those kind of things. It's just movies and it's just packaging, but this is special packaging and semi-limited edition. Companies that do a little extra to do it. I've got to say also Grove, I've ordered several things from them. If it's a steelbook, they usually put it in a small box and it's wrapped in paper. That's also very impressive. Boutique labels will do stuff like that, but some of these bigger companies don't. And that Walmart's doing it, that's fairly impressive. Last but not least, in this geek news segment for the week, and I'm not going to do this every week. I'm sorry, I don't think there's enough that I could come up with. I've been toying around with the idea of writing a book for the last few years. I've even gone so far as to write an outline. I have a lot of stories from radio stations, stories from backstage, stories from places I lived. The outline, when finished, looks like it's at least 2 books. So I've been going over in my brain how I would promote such a thing. Because I've never written a book before. I have some friends who have that I could call on for help, but kind of want to do things a little bit differently, or at least my way. And some people do things like a podcast and will do stories or excerpts from the book before they release it. And that way you can hear some of the stories and that'll lead itself to, say, a book on tape or whatever. So in the thinking process of that, as I outline that, some of these stories come to mind. I might record short podcasts and give you a taste of what a so-called book would be like. Now, I know in 2024, nobody's buying books and that kind of thing, but there are still some famous people putting out books and they tell great stories. And honestly, I mean, I have some entertaining stories. A life in the media is, even at my level, pretty entertaining stuff, and some of it involves some pretty famous people. So look for that as well in podcasts. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, you can always reach out. My website is therockfile.com, or whatever podcasting service you're on. Leave a comment. It usually flags me and lets me know. You want to reach out to me on social media, that's fine too. Comments, suggestions, always welcome. Questions, you name it. It helps me do these podcasts, actually. Got a lot more in the pipeline. I'm watching a lot of things. Next up, I think, will be The Fall Guy and its new 4K Steelbook edition. I have not seen the movie in theaters, so I'm looking forward to watching it. And the extended version might take me a little longer to get the review up because I have to watch both versions of the movie. I'm Scott. I'm ROCKFILE. Thanks for checking out some geek news this week. I'll try and update you on some other things as they come up. Have a great day. Thanks for listening.